and welcome along to another episode of the slightly newly named You're the Ref, in which I asked Craig Savage and Charlie Betts a number of controversial refereeing scenarios and asked them what their answer would be to see if they match with referee extraordinaire Keith Hackett, who's been a little bit rude to us this week. So the public controversy has ensued over the last week, so thank you largely for your support. And of course, we have had to slightly adapt the title now due to the threat of lawyers who apparently are still working during this outbreak.
Yeah, I can't understand why a former Premier League referee in Keith Hackett wants to sue a small podcast from Luton.
Well, see, some people don't want public publicity for their work, and positive publicity at that.
No,
They don't want to be known as having a good book out there, enjoying football fans in this difficult time. They just don't want to know.
Yeah, well, this is it. What's the name of this author? Peter?
No. So
Paul
Peter/Paul is the illustrator. I think it's Keith Hackett, as we well found out, who writes the answers. I think what didn't help us recently was that the last episode we sort of openly disagreed with Keith's answer as well. So I think he probably had his back up about that because we were right and he was wrong.
Yeah, because he did. Anyway. He gave a brief answer and we had more answers than he did, and he was jealous. No, it's not.
Moving on, we of course know that the book is sponsored and signed, by the legendary referee Howard Webb, who of course states that he refereed a World Cup final when signing the book. And this week, you'll be pleased to know that our scenarios relate to a very special person in football. And that person is the man himself, Howard Webb.
Oh, fantastic. What a great referee he was.
Go on, Craig, I'll let you finish, mate. We'll put it in.
No, I'm saying Man United fan. He gave some great decisions from Man United. Ryan Babel took a section to that and got suspended. So shame on Ryan Babel.
Well done from Craig Savage, the Manchester United fan. So, for anyone who hasn't followed along before, I asked these boys 3 refereeing scenarios related to each person. This week, of course, Howard Webb. And I'm going to ask them what they would do if they were the ref. So are you ready?
Can I just interrupt, Dan, before we go any further? Normally, because obviously we're normally together actually recording this in person, we get to see the rather unique drawings of Peter/Paul Trevelyan.
It's definitely Paul.
Oh, okay. Well, Paul Trevelyan then. We're obviously we can't see this because of our recent outbreak. We're having to do this remotely.
This is social distancing at its finest.
Yes. Would you say that it's the likeness of Howard Webb, or is it a bit of a more artistic take on him?
The likeness of Howard Webb is sensational. The one other person below, which we will do in a future week, is diabolical. So the Howard Webb one, I've got to be honest, as much as we'd like to criticise after the last week, it is on point.
Right, fair enough. Anyway, Dan, back to scenario number 1.
Scenario number 1, and you'll like this one, boys. At the end of a relegation 6-pointer, the home side take a shock lead. Determined to hang on for the win, they engage in sustained, deliberate time wasting using every trick in the book. Does that sound familiar, Craig?
It sounds like a Graham Jones type of Luton game.
Yes, it does sound like a Craig Savage type of game. You show 5 yellow cards in an attempt.
Graham Jones.
You show 5 yellow cards in an attempt to stop the gamesmanship, and then at the end of 90 minutes, you signal for 12 minutes of stoppage time. The home captain is furious, insisting that 12 minutes exceeds the maximum length of time allowed under the laws of the game. What is the maximum time you can add? And this one's multiple choice. A, 10 minutes. B, 12 minutes. I've given an answer that's not even on the sheet, so let me reread those. So, is it A, 10 minutes, B, 15 minutes, or C, 30 minutes? Have a discussion.
Wow.
I didn't even know there was a maximum time. I genuinely didn't know that. I thought it was at the discretion of the referee.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, though, it's not 12.
It's not 12.
It's not 12, so that's the right answer. 10, 15 or 30. Well, I've never seen a game go past... Well, I have, but...
Only through injury, though, not through time wasting.
Not through time wasting. No referee will actually put on 12 minutes of added time for time wasting. That's just... It's literally stopping to watch every time it goes out.
My issue with this, and I'm not just saying it because Keith Hackett wrote it, is he's already given us the assumption that we would have given 12 minutes of injury time. And that annoys me a little bit because to avoid the flack, I wouldn't have given 12 minutes of injury time to begin with, and we wouldn't be in this scenario. But here we are. I think it has to be the most possible. I think it has to be 30. And the reason I say that is I'm sure that when there's been injuries and it's taken 10, 15 minutes, which is awful, but, for someone to maybe get an ambulance to come on and come off and all of that, it must go past 15 minutes, surely.
But surely that game, if it's something like that, the game would be abandoned.
Yeah, true. That's a very good point, actually. Yeah, you stumped me on that one.
regarding the for time wasting, that's just I just think that's something that Keith would do. Just stop the watch every 5 seconds, just so someone can tie their shoelaces up, or
Keith would do it to make himself the centre of attention, as we found this week, something that he loves doing. But I think the law, it has to be 30 minutes. I think because that's the period of extra, same length as extra time. No logic for that.
I think
final answer, 30 minutes.
I think that's way too much. I'm going to at least say 15, and add the silver goal rule.
So, Craig Savage, you're going for 15, yes?
Yes.
Okay, well, I can tell you that Keith Hackett's going to become even more unpopular with you two now because it was a trick question.
What a asshole.
Right, go on.
This is why all referees are wankers.
So you may remember, on a side note, actually, it was only this season or last season, early in a Carabao Cup tie, where floodlights failed and there was 28 minutes stoppage time in one half. But side note,
was that Burton?
It was Burton. There's no limit to the amount of time you can add on, which makes it seem deliberately deceptive.
For God's sake, Keith! What is he doing?
But let me carry on anyway. I'd pull the captain over and make him and everyone else aware that I would be staying until midnight to make sure the right amount of time was played.
Basically, he's cheating. He's waiting for the other team to score the winner, and then he'll blow up.
Well, you did relate this to Howard Webb, so maybe it's more closely to heart than you'd imagine.
No, well, I think Keith's got a vendetta against Howard Webb then.
Well, he's got a vendetta against a lot of people, unfortunately.
Right, go on.
If players continue to waste time, I would continue showing yellow card and dismissing any repeat offenders. I'd also make it very clear to the captain that if this behaviour continued, and this is the bit that confused me, and his team went down to 7 men as a result of my red cards, the game would be abandoned and he and his team would be reported to the authorities. But I thought you could still play on with 7. Wasn't it less than 7 you got abandoned for?
I thought it was less than 7,
I thought it was 6.
Yeah, so I thought once you went down beyond
player
7.
got sent off, yeah.
So I don't think Keith has a clue.
Wouldn't it be hilarious this week if there was a technical error in the book?
That would be...
Well,
that would be...
We're going to have to check the FIFA laws. I know this is a very old book, but I think Keith's wrong again.
I'm annoyed by that because we said that at the beginning that it would be, we didn't realise didn't think there would be a limit on it because it makes sense, like you say, if you have to keep going.
What was the point of the 3 bloody...
I don't know, Craig. I don't know.
I think it was a dry day for Keith that day, and he had sort of had to...
Keith
No,
go.
No, don't upset.
No,
right,
okay.
Dan, next one.
So let's move on. At this point, we'll continue to apologise for the poor quality by us trying to produce a remote podcast. The second one. A striker who has only one defender to beat screams to a midfielder for a through ball. But as the ball is played, you suddenly notice that the opposition goalkeeper has deliberately stepped backwards off the field of play and is now appealing for offside. The linesman looks confused.
That's very good cheating, that.
So, what do you do, Craig and Charlie?
Oh, gosh.
Technically, he's still onside.
Well, just to clarify before you start committing to it. So, before the ball's played, the keeper steps off the pitch.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yep.
Wow, that's a tough one. Go on, Craig. You were on to something. Sorry, you go first.
Well, I remember seeing when defenders have sitting off the pitch where it has been like a cross or something like that. Yeah. They're still technically classed as on in the play. So the player could be not attacking player could be right next to the goalkeeper and still be classified as onside.
Really?
So, yeah. I think I've seen it. I think I saw it with Italy years ago. I think it might have been the Euros. 2012 or one of the World Cups.
One of the things I will say, Craig, is that is definitely going to pop up in a future week. I've no doubt of that.
But to be honest, I still think that goalkeeper's still in play, really. So I think he's onside, and he can shoot into an empty net because the goalkeeper's an idiot for leaving the field.
So you're letting the play continue?
Yes.
Charlie?
That's so tough. Do you know what? If you hadn't said that, Craig, my first thing would have been, I suppose technically by the laws of the game he's offside, but I don't understand. So, for example, if I was a defender and, it's like you're ushering the ball out and, I don't know, for argument's sake, you get, you run off the pitch where the ball stays on. Mm-hmm. I thought you were off, and therefore, if he, passed, for however it worked out, once I was off the pitch, technically then I was off the pitch.
But it's the key word, not deliberately.
Well, yeah, that's true, yeah.
But I think technically that would be onside.
I'm going to have to say you'd have to play on. And the only reason I say that is using logic of if that was a rule that could easily be exploited, someone would have done it by now and would have seen it in a high-profile game somewhere. that like a keeper would have just stepped off the pitch just as he's about to play it. So
you agree?
I'm gonna have to say play on and goal.
Could you imagine the World Cup final? Ian Robbins threw 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, and Casillas goes off the pitch and goes, "It's offside."
Who ref that final out of interest, Craig?
It was Howard Webb.
No, go on. Sorry, yeah, no. So I think we're actually in agreement there, Dan, which probably puts the third scenario down as a decider. But yeah, so I think we're both in agreement on that one.
So Charlie has been swayed over to Craig's way of thinking, but will it be right? That is the question. Let me give you Keith Hackett's answer. And again, maybe this time I was tricking you, Craig, because you're both right. So we allow the play to continue. We do not award an offside. We wait until the ball eventually goes out of play, whether that be for a goal, a throw, a corner, whatever it is. But you've missed one key detail, which is then book the goalkeeper for leaving the field of play without permission.
Oh, I half sort of thought you'd maybe do it for gamesmanship.
It's easy to think it afterwards, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. No, I thought you'd do it for gamesmanship, not leaving the field of play without permission.
Well, if a player goes off injured, hobbles off the pitch, is that not classified as leaving the field of play?
Yes, but is the key word deliberate still?
Oh, come on.
No, I'll be honest, I sort of maybe in the back of my mind thought a possible booking, but I thought it'd be for unsporting behaviour, whatever the term is.
Ungenuine conduct.
Ungenuine conduct, that's the one, but obviously it's not. But I didn't know that.
The goalkeeper's a mug anyway, so he's basically the player comes through the goal and he's got a booking at the same time. So
the goalkeeper's a mug anyway.
Could I just one side note on this?
If he wants to get a bottle of water.
Well, that should be in the goal, so he shouldn't be leaving the field of play.
Oh, come
on. Side note on this. Sorry, Paul Trevelyan's image, as much as again I'd like to criticise, is absolutely phenomenal for this one. It would have you in laughter if you were able to see it.
So is that the same if he stepped inside the goal then? Would he be leaving the field of play?
No, because that's technically part of the pitch. Weirdly.
If he went inside the actual goal behind the goal line. Oh, okay. Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I'm just guessing. It sounds logical.
I've been distracted by something, and that is there's a little fact sheet about each person towards the side. Did anyone know that Howard Webb's middle name was Melton?
Mountain? Mountain?
No, Melton as in... Like Melton Mowbray, where you get the pork pies.
Oh, Melton Mowbray.
As in, melt on some cheese.
Well, he's a Yorkshireman, so it probably sounds about right.
Did he used to be a policeman or a teacher?
Which one? Did used to be a policeman?
Policeman, yeah, part-time.
But his middle name's Melton.
Apparently so.
Where's he from?
Rotherham.
Oh, Rotherham. Oh, okay, right. Very good. Right.
But of course, we have had one incorrect fact already in this book today, so it could well be incorrect as well. So let's not make any promises. But moving on to number 3. In the last seconds of a game with the ball out for a corner, you wave on a sub. He acknowledges your signal and to save time, races straight from the dugout to the corner flag. He then curls the ball into the net. The linesman flags for no goal. What do you do?
Has he actually entered the pitch?
Well, it doesn't actually say that because there's not as much detail here.
Well, Keith gave a trick answer in the first one, so he's probably going to trick this one as well. If he's brought the sub on...
To save time, he hasn't gone onto the field of play. It doesn't even say he has or hasn't. It just says it's to save time. He has raced straight from the dugout to the corner flag.
That would imply to me he didn't go on the pitch.
Yeah, what was the first part of the question?
You wave on a sub, basically.
Yes, you wave on a substitute for the last second of the game for a corner. So the ball's at a dead play, a set piece.
It's a goal.
Ooh,
you think it's a goal?
Yeah. If you waved him on, it's a goal.
But I don't know if he's entered the field of play. I'm going to go with the linesman.
Well, he's waved him on.
I think it's no goal because I don't think he's entered the field of play because he's raced off. Because you need to check who is coming on, who's coming off. You know, because it could have been someone else who raced from the dugout to the corner flag. But it could have been someone else. That's what I mean.
No, I'm going to have to give goal.
So Craig's giving a goal.
I'm going to say... So, forgive me if I'm wrong. The lino said no goal. He started flagging in.
Let me just go back and check. You're making me turn this book upside down a lot. I'm very annoyed. The linesman flags for no goal. You are correct, Charlie.
So I'm going to go with the lino, and I'm going to say that because he didn't enter the field of play, I couldn't necessarily verify then that it was the correct substitute.
He hasn't put his... So you're basically trying to say the player hasn't put his foot... This is VAR with the freaking lines. So he basically hasn't put his foot onto the fucking pitch, and then he's gone over to the corner flag.
But It says that he's raced from the dugout. I think that's the key part.
But he's waved him on.
But he's come from. But who though?
You waved him on.
Yeah, but which subs at Craig? Because that's what I'm saying. It could have been a different sub who's raced out from the dugout. That's why at least if he comes on the pitch, you know who he is.
Well, that's our negligence of not actually checking who the sub is.
Well, this is Keith Hackett's negligence because he made this scenario. Well, we wouldn't have done this, Craig.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If there was a fourth official would have his details, and obviously if it's like park football, then it's obviously up to us.
But that's what I'm saying. We wouldn't have been. We would have been diligent referees and gone over and done the substitution properly and wouldn't have done it to save time. In fact, you know what? I'm going to put that in the answer. I reckon Keith tells us off, even though he's the one who made this scenario up. I'm going to say Keith will tell us off for not going over and doing the substitute properly first. I think you have to book him because he hasn't entered the field of play.
For your theory, yeah, you technically do.
That's what I'm going for, Dan. I'm going for a compound answer. Keith's going to give us a rollicking. It's no goal and a booking for entering the field for not entering the field of play. And Keith, I'm going with that.
I'm going. If he's waved him on, it's a goal.
So Craig Savage has gone for a goal. Charlie Betts has gone for a rollicking and to disallow the goal. Obviously, this wouldn't happen nowadays because as players come onto the pitch, the first thing they do is try and get the ball outside the bloody quadrant. So they would have gone on the pitch at some point.
I was waiting for that.
But for the answer, do you want to know who's correct?
Absolutely.
Well, that's the point of the show.
Number 3. The answer is Charlie Betts is correct. You order a retake because the sub hasn't entered the field of play before taking the kick.
Oh, God.
Now, there is lots more detail going on here. And Charlie is almost spot on. He's almost spot on. So a substitution isn't complete unless the player enters the field of play at the halfway line. Ooh. The fourth official manages this process to ensure the law has been complied with. So we're telling the fourth official off first. But as Charlie also mentioned, Keith says an alert referee would have intervened sooner to stop the player taking the corner in the first place. So well done, Charlie, for a very complete answer.
But no booking.
No booking is mentioned. So again, a little bit trivial there, isn't it?
Oh, Keith.
Oh, he's let us down, Keith.
I can see why, though, Craig, on a serious note, why you went for that, because I get that. In the interest of the game for speed and stuff, you would just wave them on. But then, I don't know why substitute
I think we've had referees. We've had referees, obviously, what level that we've managed and coached, where it's rolled on, roll off, and he's probably already gone off the pitch and now it's about to come back on, and you just wave him. So you can see it happening, but obviously both scenarios you can easily see it.
But unfortunately, Keith didn't see it that way. I will say the only thing I will say with some of these scenarios, tonight's one was a bit of a trick question, laid him for out, because Keith comes up with these scenarios and then tells us off for doing stuff that we wouldn't have necessarily done because he's making us out to be bad referees, and I think that's something we need to address for future ones. You know,
I think Keith's making it up as it goes along. To be honest.
Well, some people only see the negatives in things, don't they? So that's the reason for that. But I can confirm that today Charlie Betts has won the episode by 1 decision to 0. Oh, in fact, 2-1 because you both got the middle one. I tried to make you look worse than you were.
Can I call my lawyer for an appeal?
I'm not so sure they'll be working at the moment, mate. But you can have a go.
I'll put it public on Twitter.
As you can see, Charlie and Craig aren't quite as professional at being upset as I am. But I hope you'll come and join us again next time and that you did enjoy our attempt remotely, despite the fact that we probably argued over each other most of the time. If you did enjoy the episode, please put a thumbs up on it on YouTube and also subscribe for regular content from us. And if you're on Spotify, you can follow us too, as well as on Twitter at HonestFootball3. But thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.